Welcome everyone to today's Info-Byte webinar. So this quarter, Wavelink is focusing heavily on email and phishing security and training services. And today's topic for our webinar will be FortiMail and how it fits into that Fortinet solution. At a high level for today, our agenda will be what the current and evolving threat security landscape looks like for email, an overview of Fortinet's email security platform approach. We'll go into an introduction to FortiMail and all of its key features. We'll then look at what options are available for FortiMail and have a look at the licensing inclusions and structure. We'll have a look at where to find further sales and technical information. Do a quick Q&A for any outstanding questions that we don't get to throughout the session. And then we'll do a brief introduction to Fortinet's CTAP program, and we'll even go through an example of a CTAP report. And of course, if at any time you have any questions, please feel free to use the questions section within GoToWebinar, and myself and Veenu, who's joining me, will do our best to get through and answer your questions as they come through. In case you haven't met myself or my colleague before, I'll do a quick introduction. So my name's Kieran O'Brien, and I am Wavelink's Fortinet enablement lead. Myself, I've got more than 5 years of experience in the IT industry and in technical sales. I'm Ekihouse certified and going through a journey of building out my Wi-Fi expertise, as well as continuing developing a specialty within the SMB market. And with me today is one of our Fortinet pre-sales engineers, Veenu. I hand over to Veenu to do a quick introduction.
Hey all, my name is Veenu Kandasamy. I'm Wavelink's Fortinet pre-sales engineer for Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia, and Western Australia. I have about 12 years experience in focusing on integrating Fortinet and other technologies. I've got NSE 4, 5, and 7 under my belt. I'm a bit of a generalist. I love working with data centers all the way to SMBs and medium-sized networks. Back to you, Kieran.
Thanks, Veenu. So before we jump into today's topic, I just wanted to take a couple minutes just to do an introduction to Wavelink, just in case any of you haven't dealt with us before. So we were established back in 1998 with the sort of key focus of growing out our strategic vendors and focusing on our partners' presence. And we did this through building capability and depth of knowledge. And one of the ways we did that was aggregating solutions and providing specialized product support and intimacy with the products that we sell. So we've been a Fortinet distributor since 2016, having previously distributed the Maru product solution that was purchased by Fortinet to help bolster up their wireless solution. And we have a key strategy to help our resellers, and we've got programs for enablement and to allow our partners to sell, develop, and support not just FortiGate, but the complete Fortinet security fabric. We are 100% Australian owned and have a sort of company culture that's quite responsive, and it makes it easy to do business with us. And we have a real yes, we can do attitude here at Wavelink. We have a range of many other benefits, including a professional services program that includes staging, rollout, and installation services, as well as a really great exclusive incentive program that we run on a regular basis. And if you'd like any more details around any of these services that we run, just reach out at any time. Otherwise, let's jump into the content for today. So to provide some context around why email security and training is becoming such a sore point for businesses, not just all around Australia, but also the globe, let's discuss the current threat landscape. So the Australian Cybersecurity Centre annual report for the financial year 2021 to 2022 shows self-reported losses due to business email compromise increased significantly over the previous year, all the way to $98 million. While this does show a slight decrease in the actual number of reports from the previous financial year, the self-reported losses have increased significantly in a non-linear manner, indicating the business impact of each individual attack is rapidly increasing, it's rapidly on the rise. The reported attacks are not limited to scamming businesses out of money or goods anymore. Cyber criminals are increasingly pretending to be business representatives to try and trick employees into revealing confidential business information. And the reason why they're doing this is it creates an entry point for malicious actors to move into higher value targets within the business and within the corporate network in order to launch a lot more major ransomware attacks. And we're seeing that attackers are moving heavily away from traditional malware to things like social engineering, phishing, and highly advanced ransomware attacks. And a recent report by Verizon reveals that 82% of breaches involved human interaction. And these are things like stolen credentials, phishing, and even user error. 36% of overall business breaches were through email itself. So we know that email is becoming a really, really big component. And 82% of that was ransomware. So ransomware is becoming quite a big component as well. And things are only going to be getting worse for the human interaction factor. And this is due to the introduction of things like AI tools for attackers. And AI tools give access to an array of tools that allow hackers to more convincingly create phishing and more advanced ways of circumventing traditional antivirus and anti-malware tools. One of those tools is the ability to create polymorphic malware, where the payload can identify its code source and avoid detection. So it can completely go through and on the fly modify itself to circumvent detection. And this makes it difficult for standard signature-based detection engines, which normally look for recognized patterns associated with malicious software in order to detect and prevent the spread of threats. And the latest tool I'm sure we're all sort of heard of, especially recently, is OpenAI's ChatGPT. And attackers have already been successful in getting ChatGPT to create polymorphic malware completely autonomously. And this makes the accessibility of creating advanced malware one step easier for attackers, because no longer do they have to know how to create polymorphic malware, but they can actually just create the malware payload itself and ask a tool to create or to edit that malware to create it to be polymorphic. AI also is advancing phishing email attacks. So traditionally, AI required a high level expertise, which made it quite inaccessible for most attackers. But now with things such as AI as a service, there is very little expertise required, and it's making it much more accessible and dramatically reducing the cost of accessing these tools for attackers. And attackers can use these services to focus on things like personality analysis to generate phishing emails tailored to their victims' backgrounds and to their traits. And machine learning focused on personality analysis aims to predict a person's tendencies and mentality based on these behavioral inputs from that user itself. And large language models, like those found in today's modern AI platforms, such as ChatGPT, give criminals better tools to create targeted cyber attacks, especially for those without the necessary writing skills or cultural knowledge to draft phishing and social engineering attacks on their victims. They're now using these large language models to do that for them and do that at a very high confidence level. This means that it's going to continue to get more difficult for platform providers and intended scam victims to identify malicious and fake content written by these AI tools. And the scary part is that the transition to AI tools for attackers has only just begun. We're seeing new tools and attack vectors being created at an alarming rate. And an example is that researchers have successfully used AI picture generation and ChatGPT together to create a completely AI-generated, highly advanced social engineering attack. And another thing that I could see coming up is Microsoft have recently released their Valet product, which can imitate to a surprisingly convincing level any voice with just a 3-second sample. And it's only a matter of time before tools like these are used as part of social engineering attacks, again, using email as a vector, as part of a larger attack. So to combat this, Fortinet has taken a platform approach to email security to make sure that multiple attack vectors are protected against. And Fortinet sees the future of email security going well beyond just email security in itself. And Fortinet's solution revolves around their security fabric to counter the growing sophistication of threats in multi-vector campaigns. And as part of the fabric, the indicators of compromise and lots of other types of telemetry can be shared for enhanced security across not just your email, but your entire security infrastructure. And this allows IT and security teams to more completely connect the dots to identify multi-vector campaigns by sophisticated attackers and sophisticated threats. And intensive and repetitive workflows, including responses to attacks, can be automated to reduce the burden on security operations teams as part of the security fabric as well. The approach revolves heavily around a human-centric threat defense approach. And firstly, the approach is to educate employees with periodic training to minimize the risk of human error and ensure that employees understand the importance of email security itself. Secondly, the focus is to invest in user awareness training so users can learn how to recognize the signs of phishing attacks and other indicators of malicious intent, not just for email, but advancing beyond email itself. And finally, to utilize an email security solution that provides advanced threat protection, including spoofing and impersonation protection. The email security platform utilizes, at a minimum, FortiMail, which is Fortinet's advanced multi-layer protection against email-borne threats, FortiPhish, which is Fortinet's phishing simulation platform to recognize and report phishing and other email threats to users, and then Fortinet's security awareness training service, which creates a cyber-aware workforce that goes beyond just email security. So as I said before, today we are going to focus on just the FortiMail component. And to do that, I'll hand it over to Veenu to introduce FortiMail to you. Veenu, I'll just make you the presenter.
Thanks, Kieran.
Perfect.
Let's dive into what FortiMail is. So FortiMail delivers advanced multi-layered protection against a full spectrum of email-borne threats. It's powered by FortiGuard Labs, shares threat intelligence that's integrated into the Fortinet security fabric. FortiMail is also integrated with third-party components as well as the security fabric that shares indicator of compromise with the security fabric. FortiMail delivers comprehensive top-rated threat protection that helps prevent, detect, and respond to email-based threats. FortiMail can be deployed into several mediums. So one of them is a hardware appliance, and it also supports software appliances that can be deployed into hypervisors such as VMware, Citrix, Zen-Server, or Microsoft's Hyper-V, KVM, and also cloud service platforms such as AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and Oracle. You can also utilize FortiMail's own native cloud service offering, which is FortiMail Cloud, for those who want simple, easy to use email as a service that can be used as for on-premise and cloud-based service emails. FortiMail can also be deployed into 4 different operational modes. Gateway mode that provides inbound and outbound proxy mail transfer agent services for existing email gateways, where you simply change the MX record and redirect it to your FortiMail for email analysis. FortiMail then relays any safe emails to the destination email service for delivery. Transparent mode is another method that eliminates the need for you to change any DNS records or change existing email server configuration. Transparent mode is particularly appealing for service providers or large MSPs where they do not make any changes to their networks or their email solutions. In server mode, FortiMail acts as a standalone messaging server, a full-fledged SMTP email functionality, including flexible support for POP3, IMAP, and webmail access. Lastly, FortiMail now also offers native Office 365 support by integrating with Office 365 APIs. There's no MX record changes are required, and it also leverages the Office 365 APIs for threat detection. FortiMail brings together advanced capabilities to address the full spectrum of email-borne threats faced in organizations today. It protects against known threats, suspected threats, unknown zero-day threats, as well as impersonation attempts and also business email compromise. It also provides robust protection against accidental disclosure, exfiltration, and man-in-the-middle attacks as well. FortiMail also provides the following benefits. It provides, as we see before, comprehensive protection, advanced integrated capabilities to protect against spam, malware, ransomware, impersonation, and business email compromise attacks. It also offers validated performance from top-rated independent testing to stop spam, malware, ransomware, and advanced email threats. It also offers industry-leading cost to performance, proven email threat protection at industry-leading cost to performance. Lastly, it's powered by FortiGuard Labs, world-class threat intelligence, world-class efficacy. Fortinet is one of the email security vendors to consistently prove the efficacy of FortiMail through independent testing. So far, what they've achieved is 99.8% detection rate by ICSA Labs, 99.9% spam capture rate, and 100% detection rate from Virus Bulletin. And lastly, 97% overall detection rate and AAA rating from SE Labs. Tests also reveals Fortinet's ability to detect threats with a few or no false positives. FortiMail is protected and powered by the threat intelligence of FortiGuard AI security services, such as antivirus, virus outbreak protection, anti-spam from FortiGuard Labs. With visibility across 600,000 customer environments worldwide, FortiGuard Labs is one of the prominent threat research teams in existence. Telemetry is also gathered from 5.6 million sensors deployed worldwide. FortiGuard Labs exceptionally provides visibility into real-world threats. FortiGuard experts analyze this information around the clock to deliver top threat intelligence. Let's look at some of the major FortiMail features. So as we outlined before, FortiMail provides native integration to Office 365. Fortinet works very closely with Microsoft, the integrated solution, tightly with Office 365. Provides flexible consumption models and deployment options for on-premises, hybrid, and multi-cloud environments. Built from ground up to coexist and complement Microsoft 365, Fortinet's approach allows customers to use applications that they are most familiar with from Microsoft and proven security they can rely on from Fortinet. Email continuity is a service that FortiMail offers. Outages do happen. There are even incidents of the biggest cloud services providers going offline. Email Continuity Service is available with FortiMail Cloud, represent an effective way to mitigate risk and costs associated with unplanned outages of core email services. Email Continuity Services offer a low-cost solution to keep employees productive, with services often paying for itself. Email Continuity is designed to protect valuable productivity by providing emergency mailbox services when organizations experience an outage in their email services. Cousin domain detection allows you to check the email address for presence of a cousin domain and take action. Cousin domain profiles map sender domains to be either scanned or exempt from scanning. Domain names may be deliberately misspelled, or either character removal or substitution or transposition to make emails look as though they originated from a trusted source. In the example on the slide, cousin domain detection verifies that emails are sent by the registered domain name, which is attempting to deceivably look familiar to the target domain. Dynamic image analysis service protects the network against sexually illicit image, identifies suspect images in attachments in emails, educate users about company policies when questionable content is detected, monitors and logs emails to provide visibility of misuses, also enforces company policy by taking appropriate action on emails, ensures policy and compliance is enforced. Content disarm and reconstitution allows FortiMail to decide what action to take on emails with attachments that contains any active content in them, such as hyperlink, embedded media, JavaScript, macros from files without affecting the integrity of the content. HTML files in email bodies and attachments may contain hazardous tags attributes such as hyperlinks or scripts. Microsoft Office and also PDF attachments may contain hazardous macros, scripts, and other active contents. FortiMail provides capability to remove or neutralize the potential hazardous contents and reconstitute the email and attachments. The content disarm and reconstitution strips all active content from files in real time, creating a flat sanitized file. All active content is treated as suspect and removed. To protect users from harmful or spam URLs, such as phishing or advertising websites, FortiMail uses FortiGuard URL click protection service. The service utilizes FortiSandbox to scan URLs. Depending on inspection results from FortiGuard, FortiSandbox, you can decide if you would allow or block the URLs. It also uses FortiIsolator for additional protection against zero-day and malware threats, where FortiIsolator is a browser isolation platform. Kieran touched on the Fortinet security fabric. FortiMail integrates back into the Fortinet security fabric. Fortinet security fabric helps organizations see and connect dots to threats across their entire attack surfaces. Behind the security fabric and also FortiGuard Labs provides threat intelligence to your devices, keeping services like up to date and help you prevent, detect, and respond to latest email-borne threats. Let's look at some of the other products that integrate with FortiMail. Some of you, if you are used to Fortinet, might have seen FortiAnalyzer. FortiAnalyzer and FortiAnalyzer Cloud is Fortinet's security fabric analytics and automation service that helps provide better detection and response against cyber risks. FortiIsolator that we looked at a few slides ago is Fortinet's browser isolation platform that adds additional advanced threat protection capability to Fortinet security fabric. FortiNDR, which is formerly known as FortiAI, is powered by deep neural networks that identifies and classifies, investigates, blocks sophisticated threats in sub-second. FortiSandbox Cloud is an ultimate combination of AI and machine learning powered detection threat filtering. FortiSIEM is the next generation, offers next generation SIEM capabilities and also brings together visibility, correlation, automated response, and remediation in a single scalable solution. Lastly, FortiSOAR is Fortinet's security orchestration and automation and response engine that provides innovation, case management, orchestration. It pulls together all of the organization's tools to help unify operation and reduce fatigue, alert fatigue. With that, I would hand it back to you, Kieran.
Thanks, Veenu. So as we can see, FortiMail does so much, and it's quite a powerful tool. There are many advanced features that you can take into consideration and utilize. So now let's have a look at what options are available for FortiMail and what the licensing inclusions are. So as Veenu said previously, FortiMail itself is available in an array of forms. For those wanting full control, there is the physical appliance that is available in an array of hardware models, and there's also a virtual machine that can be purchased on either a perpetual or a subscription-based licensing model. And that VM model is ready for private and public cloud deployments for ultimate flexibility if you need that. And for those looking for SaaS solutions, Fortinet has a FortiCloud option to reduce the complexity for IT teams. And it's conveniently licensed on a per mailbox per year basis. So it's really, really simple to license up. For physical appliances and virtual machines, there are 3 license levels. The first level is the base bundle, which gives you access to all of your general email threat tools, such as your email data loss, spam detection, advanced malware protection, and virus outbreak services. The next step up is the Enterprise Advanced Threat Protection Bundle, or ATP bundle, and this gives you all of the great functionality of the base bundle with additional advanced services such as the content disarm and reconstruction, URL click protection, impersonation analysis, and access to Fortinet's cloud sandboxing services, all bundled into a service. Then the final service, which is above the ATP bundle, is the Enterprise ATP with Office 365 API support. And this adds the Office 365 integration that Veenu just discussed earlier, such as the real-time and scheduled scanning of mailboxes and post-delivery callback of email threats, all bundled into one service for you. For FortiMail Cloud, Fortinet's SaaS offering, the license inclusions match the hardware and VM appliances. It's just that the names are slightly different. So the first level is the Cloud Gateway, which is the same inclusions as the base bundle for the hardware and VM. The next level up from the base, from Cloud Gateway is Cloud Gateway Premium, which is the same inclusions as the ATP bundle for hardware and VM. Then the top level of license is the Cloud Gateway Premium with Microsoft 365 API support, which is the same as the Enterprise ATP with Microsoft 365 API support that we saw for the hardware and VM offering. All of this, of course, for the FortiCloud Mail solution is with 99.99% service availability running within Fortinet's cloud infrastructure. So Fortinet have made it really easy and bundled everything together. That way there's only 3 options available, whether you're buying the hardware or the SaaS option, to reduce your complexity. If you would like further information regarding FortiMail, there's plenty of resources right at your fingertips. For further materials such as solution briefs, marketing campaigns, and also the data sheet, please check out the Fortinet Partner Portal Asset Library. There's a lot of material in there, including some really good technical details and slides about how you would go about implementing at a high level. So that way you can really easily start to have high-level discussions with your customers. Fortinet also has a really excellent ordering guide that lets you easily figure out exactly what SKUs you require for the bundles that we just talked about. And that ordering guide also contains a really handy cheat sheet section right at the very end, full of very useful information. There are also technical workshops and certification available for FortiMail. So Fortinet has a 4-hour FortiMail fast track workshop that provides hands-on learning experience with FortiMail and teaches you how to protect your organization for things like phishing, unwanted spam, social engineering, business email compromise, malware, and advanced email attacks. For more information on that workshop, please go to events.fortinet.com/fast-tracks. And of course, Fortinet also has the NSE 6 FortiMail certification for those wanting to get a greater understanding of how to deploy, manage, and troubleshoot FortiMail itself. For more information on the certification, please feel free to reach out at any time, or also go to training.fortinet.com, and there's plenty of information about that certification up there. So now we've got a little bit of time to do a bit of a Q&A for anyone that has any questions for anything that we've gone through so far. Veenu, do you have any questions that you've got lined up that we can go through?
Let's talk about the differences between FortiSandbox and FortiIsolator, if you like. So the difference between FortiSandbox and Isolator is FortiSandbox is Fortinet's sandboxing environment. So FortiSandbox is Fortinet's sandboxing environment where it executes open attachments within a sandboxing environment. And if you look at the browser isolation platform, it isolates it into a containerized browser platform. So there's the two differences. It's a new service, Isolator. So that's something that you can look at integrating as well. Nextly, I'd like to add about the continuity service. That's part of the FortiMail offering that allows you to have your emails even in the event of an outage, meaning you can access your emails in an event of an outage from either your cloud service provider or your on-premises servers. Back to you, Kieran.
I did have a question here, and someone was asking if they went with the FortiMail cloud option and they currently have an email service on-prem, can that service scale out to support them when they move their on-premise email server into services such as Office 365?
Absolutely, absolutely it can. You can also extend it, you can have the license as is, you can uplift the license to support the newer Microsoft API scanning methods and utilize it that way. You can also utilize the Office 365 scanning methods to complement existing filtering as well.
Fantastic. That's all the questions I have for now. But if any attendees have any additional questions, please at any time feel free to reach out to myself or the pre-sales team or to Veenu directly. More than happy to answer any additional questions that you may have post this presentation. So to go through the Fortinet CTAP program, I'll actually hand it back to you, Veenu, because you are our expert when it comes to CTAPs.
Cool, no worries. Thanks, Kieran. So CTAP program allows you to deploy email, so it allows you to deploy a FortiMail instance and run it on your customer environment for a period of time and present them with your findings. So it's a hassle-free assessment of the customer environment, and you can implement it very easily. The first thing you would do is schedule a meeting with the client to outline the process. Second step is you implement the solution. Obviously, Fortinet will provide, or Fortinet and ourselves we will provide you information on step-by-step how to implement it and what's required. Lastly, once the information is complete, information is gathered, we will generate a report and that we will share with you. That will provide you lots of information, which we will look at in the next few slides, and we might even look at an example. The final step is to organize a meeting and present these findings to your customer. So this is an example CTAP report. We might generate one and we might show you all the pages because it will extend to a lot of the information in here. So the cover page is pretty much gives custom information. So these are all test templates. So hence it's got some other information such as prepared for. All of that will change into your customer names and things like that. The next page will have an executive summary that'll show the security of their environment, how effective their current email solution is, utilize consistently top-rated FortiGuard intelligence service, and learn more about known or suspected malware, phishing, business compromises, threats that's entering their organization. The next section talks about productivity. Are emails exposed to unwanted or inappropriate content? Learn about spam, newsletters, and even adult content. Lastly, utilization information as how many emails they receive per day. It gives you a lot of overview of the customer environment, because quite often this information is not even available for the user. This report is very detailed and it displays easy to read format. However, we can also assist you interpret these reports. Wavelink CTAP service. So we have dedicated loan kit. So this is a virtual instances. So we will assist you to deploy the virtual instances. We can shadow you and also train you and your team for deployment. We can also assist you, as I said previously, interpret the CTAP findings. That's pretty much it. And I might just show an example of a report. We might just go through page by page quickly and cover that up. So this is the sample report. Can you still see my screen, Kieran? Yeah, cool, thank you. So this is a sample report. So that's the first page. And second page is the executive summary. It talks about security, productivity, and utilization, the areas that we covered previously. Then it drills into security. So here you can see right at the top, quick stats outlines 842 known or suspected attachment-based attacks. Then you got 52 URL or suspected URL-based attacks, and 4 known or suspected impersonation-based attacks. And on the right, it gives you more information about the malware. And on the first table, it gives you known malware. And at the bottom, it's drilling you into more information. On the last column, it'll tell you how many counts of that's coming, and also gives you information about who's the sender, what was the subject, who was the target, things like that. Then security drills into known malware identified. Obviously, it has a rating, so it's got a rating out of 5, 5 being the highest. It gives you based on that as well. And the second part of it is suspicious URLs that's been identified as well. So with FortiMail, you can block and prevent all of this, but if they have a different solution, they may not be able to enforce something like this. Lastly, impersonation analysis, which tells you who tried to impersonate whom, who was the sender, what was the subject, the counts of that happening as well. I lied, there's a little bit more to go. Then it talks about productivity. So top spam spenders, who spent the most spam, newsletter domains, who spent the most newsletters, and it gives you all the counters and all the nice to read reports and tables. Utilization, bandwidth in inbound and outbound emails, spam emails at given point in day and time. How much bandwidth did it consume? All of these nice and pretty graphs with all of these useful information. Email counts per day, there's more information as well, similar to that by the hour. Utilization, so this is more, gives you a general utilization. This is not spam, this is not malware, this is more senders by count, who spent the most amount of emails, senders by bandwidth, who sent the biggest emails. So these are all useful information that also helps you understand your environment. Even if these may not be malicious or malware, it's always good to understand these things so that you can have a better understanding of your environment. Lastly, it provides a good set of recommendations. Even though this is only an evaluation, it gives you a recommendation that you can implement in your environment. With that, we conclude today's presentation. I would like to stress what Kieran said before. Please reach out. Our email address is, get to the last slide, apologies. Pre-sales at Wavelink, pre-sales@wavelink.com.au. So reach out if you have any questions, even after the event. Please feel free to send us in.
Thanks, Veenu. Thank you all for attending. Hopefully myself and Veenu will get to speak to you all soon. But otherwise, have a lovely afternoon. Thanks for coming along, and hopefully we'll see you in our next Info-Byte, continuing on the journey of email threat protection, impersonation, and training services. Hope you have a lovely day.